Welcome to Everyday English Stories. Today's story is called The Bookshop Cat. This episode is for level C1. Listen carefully, and don't worry if you don't understand every word. After the story, we learn 6 useful words together. For the better part of 2 decades, Peter had presided over a narrow, crooked bookshop on Harlow's High Street. It smelled of yellowing paper and old varnish, and he would not have altered so much as a shelf. Trade, admittedly, had been thin for some time, and the arithmetic was beginning to keep him awake. On a raw morning in late November, he rounded the corner with his keys already in hand. A small gray shape was huddled against the door, sheltering from the wind. It was a cat, half-starved, drenched to the skin, and entirely unmoved by its own predicament. Peter had never counted himself an animal person. Yet he could hardly, in all conscience, leave the wretched thing shivering on the step. He turned the key, and the cat sauntered in with the assurance of a paying guest. He warmed a saucer of milk and unearthed a tin of sardines from the back room. The cat dispatched the lot before he had so much as hung up his coat. It then installed itself in the red armchair by the window and slept the sleep of the righteous. Peter, torn between exasperation and amusement, returned to the accounts. At 6 he held the door wide and waited with what he considered admirable patience. "Off you go," he suggested. The cat declined to acknowledge him. The next morning she was back on the mat, as though the arrangement had been settled between them long ago. By Friday he had capitulated altogether. He bought a bowl, a brush, and a basket she treated with lofty contempt. He named her Pepper, for the gray and white speckling of her coat. In a town the size of Harlow, news of that sort spreads like wildfire. Children began marching their parents down the high street to inspect the bookshop cat. They came for Pepper, more often than not, they left with something to read. Pepper, meanwhile, slept away the afternoons in the window, sublimely indifferent to her own celebrity. Passers-by paused, smiled, and, with gratifying frequency, stepped inside. For the first time in years, the day's takings gave Peter cause for quiet optimism. A regular once asked him, half teasing, whether Pepper was in fact his cat. He weighed the question with rather more gravity than she had bargained for. "I rather think it is the other way about," he said at last. That afternoon he lettered a small card and propped it in the window. It read, "Pepper. Assistant. Sleeps on the job. On no account to be disturbed." She was on the mat at 9 sharp every morning thereafter. And Peter never once begrudged her the welcome. That is the end of the story. Now let's learn 6 useful words from it. To preside over. To be in charge of something, often for a long time. For example, Peter had presided over a narrow, crooked bookshop on Harlow's High Street. In all conscience. If one is to remain honest and decent, in good conscience. For example, he could hardly, in all conscience, leave the wretched thing shivering on the step. To saunter. To walk in a slow, relaxed, unhurried way. For example, the cat sauntered in with the assurance of a paying guest. To capitulate. To stop resisting and give in completely. For example, by Friday he had capitulated altogether. Lofty contempt. A proud, superior lack of respect for something. For example, he bought a basket she treated with lofty contempt. To bargain for. To expect or be prepared for something. For example, he weighed the question with rather more gravity than she had bargained for. That's all for today. Listen to the story again tomorrow, and you will understand more each time. New episodes every day, so subscribe and practice with us. See you tomorrow.